All right, welcome to 6 Weeks to Success, week 3, everybody. Woohoo! Congrats for making it. Lots of exciting stuff going on. I hope everybody has been learning a lot. I hope you are implementing what you learned, because we can take in all kinds of information, but until we actually use it, it doesn't do us any good. So hopefully everyone's been starting to implement some of the new things. And just so you all know, it takes about 30 days to create a new habit. So a lot of these things are going to be brand new. So don't beat yourself up if it's not going perfectly and everything isn't instantly the way it should be. It's an evolution. So continue to add in and layer and work on your new skills, and it's absolutely going to pay off. All right, so let's talk about getting homework in and making sure everything is in. And we're going to talk a little bit about what we've learned so far. So one of the first things that we talked about was increasing your product knowledge so you can maximize your sales and bookings. And one of the best ways to do this is to use your products every day. And while you're using those products, take pictures, post videos, go live, because that more than anything is going to help boost your sales and bookings when people see you using your products just on a regular day. So make sure you're going live and you're taking pictures of all that. And then obviously product knowledge. There's a ton of information online, and read your catalog. There is a lot of information in the catalog, and if you didn't know, they actually spend a lot of money and a lot of hours researching the best way to lay out the catalog. So there is a science and a psychology behind how that is all laid out. So read exactly what's in there, because you'll learn a lot from that too. As far as belief, we learned that our belief decides what we believe we can and cannot do, and that our brains can be retrained. And we had talked about this at the very beginning, making sure that we are giving ourselves positive affirmations every day. So truth, no consequences. Who's been doing some positive affirmations? Yeah, I can see Nikki's hand up. How about the other two? You guys doing them?
I have.
Yay! Excellent. And again, it's a process, and if you have them written down, it makes it easier to stick with them. So keep doing that. We've also learned how to talk to people out and about, and how to book parties at your shows, so in and outside of parties, and the words to say. And the most important thing with this, just like everything else, is practice. Keep doing it. Everything feels awkward the first time we do it, and that's okay. That's part of the learning process. So keep making those out and about contacts. Sometimes they'll be leads, sometimes they won't. Even if you just start saying hi to people, it's all part of the journey. And then the last thing we talked about is how important your passion is, and that it shines through and can completely influence people's purchases and desire to try this out. So if you're ever feeling like your passion is waning, reach out to somebody and we can help you. It's normal. Every single consultant, all the way up to national executives, everybody has times when their passion fades, when things aren't clicking the way they are other times. It's 100% normal. The most important thing is that you reach out so we can help everybody work through it, because it's normal to stay there. It's normal to feel those things. We just don't want to stay there. Okay? All right. So today we are talking about host coaching. This is one of my favorite topics, because this topic is something that has a 100% direct impact on every part of your business. So what we're going to talk about is, when we're doing a show, the reasons why we do host coaching. So if we're already going to be doing a party, we obviously want to have the best one we possibly can, right? Because it's better for your host and it's better for you. If you're already investing time in your virtual party, if you're already leaving your house, you might as well make it a good one, right? Okay, so working smarter, not harder. This is not a new concept, but doing it well is something that takes a little bit of practice and has huge rewards. So the goal is that every party is $1,000 show. How many of you have had $1,000 shows before? Has everybody had a $1,000 show before?
I just closed a $1,200 show on Sunday.
Woo! Yeah, baby, that's right. That's what we like to hear. And how psyched was your host, Nikki?
Oh my goodness, she keep texting me every day thanking me because she got $365 free.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So $1,000 show is the goal that we set with every single host every single time. And the important thing about that is if we are telling our host, you know, we're going to shoot for $500 in sales, some of them will hit it, some of them will come a little bit short, which means if you have some of them coming up short, you're looking at a $300 or $400 show average, and that doesn't help anybody. But when we are talking about $1,000 show, some of your hosts are going to hit it and succeed it and exceed it. But even the ones that miss it, so they do a $700 or $800 show instead. Still going to be amazed. They're still going to have an incredible amount of free products. And so it's always, always, always $1,000 that we coach our hosts to every single time. And if it's not something you're comfortable with, like we said, the more you do it, the easier it's going to become, and your hosts are going to thank you. And the other thing to keep in mind too is host coaching, we sometimes say it's where you earn your paycheck, and the show is where you pick it up. Because think about it. If we drop the ball on host coaching, whether it's virtual or in person, it doesn't matter. If we drop the ball on host coaching, there's not a lot of people at the show, not a lot of sales are going to happen, not a lot of bookings, not a lot of recruit leads. So if we invest the time and do the work beforehand, by the time the party gets started, you've got a house full of people, you've got a group full of people, and it's completely sets the tone. Okay, so let's talk about effective host coaching, because we always want to be effective. There's a difference between being efficient, which is getting things done quickly, and being effective, which is getting things done well. So we want to make sure that we are doing effective host coaching. So this is just a quick example. So if you're on a basketball court, okay, somebody blindfolded you, handed you a basketball, and you're on the foul line, could you make that basket without anybody helping you? Probably not.
Yeah, probably not.
Even Shaq couldn't do it blindfolded, okay? So, and that's the difference, because we want to be able to help people get to where they need to go, all right? Now, what we want to look at is developing good host coaching, developing a good host coaching system. That's going to be the difference between a mediocre show and a fantastic show. All right. So when we can coach people and help them and kind of tweak where they need to go along the way, that makes all the difference. Okay. So what we are going to do is, again, focus on having those $1,000 shows, because the other thing to remember is, on average, what the host gets in free products is what we earn in commission. It is 100% a partnership. Okay. So that being said, would you rather earn $50 from a party or $200 from a party? Right? Very simple, but it's something that we really need to focus on. Okay, so we don't want to worry about the line or the time. We're going to coach them. So what that means is we are always going to be coaching our hosts. So bear with me here. I'm having a little screen issue. Okay. So we're going to start host coaching as soon as the party gets booked. Whether it's at an in-person or a virtual party, it doesn't matter. We start coaching immediately. When you're at an in-person party, you're going to have your host packets with them. In that way, you can open it up and start talking to them about it right away. It's not a 15-minute conversation, but when you're at an in-person party, you can open it up. And you can say, here are 2 catalogs for getting outside orders. You can also use the online link, and here's one for you. And you can ask them what they liked about the party that they were at, what's on their wish list, that kind of thing. Okay, so you can start to build that relationship right away while you're still sitting at the full service checkout. We can talk to them about 40 people invited means about 15 to 20 saying yes, and that 10 outside orders plus the 15 at their house is going to add up to $1,000 show. A few little bits of information is going to set them up right away. And if you send mini catalogs or invitations to your host, some people mail out invitations, we're going to ask them for the guest list of 40 people within 48 hours. And then you can lock her in. It's really important that she is personally inviting people, and give her the words to say. And then you're going to follow up with your host the next day. Okay, so right away, we're going to start booking them. So some of the things that we're going to talk about with your newly booked host is we're going to say, we're so excited about your party on the 14th. So, tell me, what did you enjoy most about the party? This is just what we were talking about. Okay. So you can use these exact words if you want. You can change them, but make sure you're hitting each point. And you all know that Pampered Chef gives us a script, not to read a script, but to give us an idea of what to say. Make it your own, but make sure all of this is coming out. Okay? So what do you often hear from hosts when you say we need to invite 40 people? What's an objection that we hear a lot?
I don't know that many people.
Oh, but I don't know 40 people. And what we're going to do, the first thing is we always want to acknowledge how people feel. If we just say, oh, no, you're going to be fine. If we blow them off, we're not helping them. They get shut down, and it doesn't build the relationship we're wanting to. So when we say we need to invite 40 people and they say, but I don't know 40 people, it's very simple. I totally know how you feel. Most of my hosts have felt that way. But what they found is when I start brainstorming with them, they actually know a lot more people than they think. Feel, felt, found. I know a lot of you have heard that before. It's a very simple way to work with people overcoming objections. So we're going to tell them, I totally understand how you feel. A lot of my hosts felt that same way. What they found is once we started brainstorming, they actually came up with a really big list. And so what we're going to do is do this on the 24-hour call. So we're going to talk to our host a handful of times. And again, I know this isn't a brand new concept to everybody, but we're looking at fine-tuning it and tweaking it a little bit. Okay, so we're going to do some host coaching as soon as the party's booked. We're going to follow up with them the next day. And this is where we're going to help your host come up with a list of 40 guests in 40 minutes. So they have their top 40 list. When you email them the link from Consultant Connection, when you create the party, there's a link for their top 40 list right there. Make sure they see it. Have them pull it up. Send it to them separately if you want to. But make sure they have that, because that has the categories very similar to what's in the launch list for new consultants. Okay? And it helps everybody get thinking about who do they know besides just their family and friends. Our normal default, just as human beings, is we think of, the 5 or 6 people that we talk to on a regular basis. That's just natural. But we know so many more people. So when we give them that list, it really starts to help jog their memory. We also want to tell the host, it's not just who you know, but who your friends know that can make a party a success. So you can make sure that their friends are inviting other people to come along with them. Make sure they grab their neighbor, their sister, their brother, their coworker, whatever, but make sure that your friends are bringing friends. And you can also do a little incentive too. So anybody who brings an adult friend to the show, because kids aren't probably shopping if they're 10, so we don't count the kids. But if they bring somebody else, if they bring a guest, you can give them a bonus. You can give them a little incentive. It can be an old season's best that you can hand them right there. You can just toss in a new season's best on their order and you can expense it out that way. But little incentives, little thank yous can make a big difference too. So if you just have a standard policy of everybody who brings a guest, gets something free from me, it can be, whatever you want it to be. Keep it small and inexpensive, but those little incentives help. Okay. And you can also do a host scavenger hunt. And there's a bunch of different ways that you can do it. So you're going to be looking for people who live in different areas of town or, different things. And we'll show you a little bit more about this. So there's a lot of different ways that we can help our host come up with that list of people. There's a tic-tac-toe. And like I said, we're going to show you all this. So I'm just curious. And again, this is always truth, no consequences. When everybody is doing their host coaching, how often do you all ask your host, how many people have you invited so far? Who have you heard back from? I'm just curious where we're at. So unmute yourself if you're muted and just share. How often are you checking in with your host about who they've invited?
About once or twice.
Okay. What about everybody else?
Depending how far off I book the party, I check in weekly.
Okay.
Just to see where they at, like if they create their wish list, how many people, and then the closer the party get, like I'll ask again, like a couple days before the party, I'll just tell them to send a reminder to the people.
Yep. Yep. This is something we want to have as part of our regular conversations. So you're all doing a good job already. And again, we want to make sure that we're doing really effective host coaching. So we want to make sure that we're asking, we want to be talking about it really pretty much on every conversation. You know, if you're texting back and forth a zillion times in one day, it's not going to be every text, but you know what I mean. It needs to be part of every conversation. And we want to always be tying it back to how much free products they're going to get and help them brainstorm. And who else can you think of? And who haven't you heard back from yet? And the other tip that I can give you is people need specifics. It makes it so much easier. Because if someone were to tell you, bring a lot of food to a picnic, you don't know what the hell that means. But if somebody says to you, hey, can you please bring 3 dozen hamburger rolls and a bag of potato chips? Now you know exactly what you're supposed to bring. So this is the same thing for our host. If we say invite a lot of people, they have no idea what the hell that means. A lot can be 500 or 600. They don't know. So we need to teach them. We need to say we need to be inviting at least 40 to 45 people. Because we know about a third of the people are free to come. And again, this is in-person parties. And then out of the people who can't come, we know that usually 10 of them are still going to want to place an order. Okay, the numbers are a little different with virtual parties, but it's the same general idea. We know that we want to be inviting 75 to 100 people because we know about, a third of them will click going. And we know about a half of the people who actually are part of the group or click going for the event, about a half of them are going to engage. Okay, so we want to make sure that they understand the numbers. Because if we tell somebody to do something or if somebody tells us to do something, human nature is, why? Tell me why I should do that. And it's not in a flippant way, it's just that's how our brains work. So if we say invite 75 people to a virtual party, why in the hell would I invite 75 people? But if you break it down, then it makes complete sense, okay? So let's take a look at some of these different things. So these are different things that consultants just out in the field have come up with, and you don't have to do any of them. You can do all of them or whatever, but just to help kind of get your creativity flowing of different things that you can be doing with your host. So this is what Katie Hochschild does. She is the top in the company for sales like every year. And just to give you an example, it was, I think, a little over a year ago. In 1 month, she did over $50,000 in sales. 1 month, okay? This woman does 2 shows a day, okay? So she's working this full time, like she's working. But she also has extremely high selling shows. She didn't do 50,000 shows, you know that, okay? So she's very good at what she does, but this is what she does. So notice she has the free space at the top instead of in the middle. And she did this for an important reason. You want to make sure that all hosts have 2 bookings and 15 buying guests at the party. Placement in the middle space gives the host lots of opportunities to fill in a row. So if you're going to use this, use it just the way it is. Since no box can be used more than once, the maximum you'll ever give your host is an additional $30 of free products, and it won't cost you that much since you're going to have the host's discount and your commission to offset your final cost. Now, I'm going to run through that just really quickly. If you've never done this before, the first time I heard it, I was a little confused. So let's say you're giving your host $30 worth of free product. Your host is going to have 25% off or whatever it is. So right off the bat, it's going to be 25% off the $30 or whatever it is, okay? And then obviously you're going to be making extra money on your party more than you would have on an average party because your host has gone above and beyond. So yes, you will absolutely be investing a little bit of money. It's not $30 and it is often worth it. Now that's up for each person to decide, but it's not $30, it's less than that, and it makes a big difference. So it's something that you can try.
Julie, can I say something?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. The party that I just said I closed 1,200 was the first time that I used the tic-tac-toe. Now, I didn't use this one. I like this one better.
Yeah.
I used another one that I found from Coffee Talk. But when I tell you the host, I got 3 bookings from this party, which, like, I've never did a cooking show and if I got 1, I was lucky. But I got
Right.
3 bookings. And then when we left her party, it was like 8:50. But the more like she kept referring back to it, checking it off,
Mm-hmm.
and it got her excited to even get the sales, the bookings, and then I think the recipe and the dessert showed how versatile our cookware was, and it just made it easy.
That's
So
fantastic.
I recommend using this whole tic-tac-toe because it really works.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, most people are going to work for a carrot. You know what I mean? If there's something dangling in front of us, most of us are going to go for it. It's just that you already have a host who already he wants to do a party. They want to get free stuff. This is absolutely something can help. That's incredible, Nikki. Good for you.
Can I just say something, Joel?
Yeah, Hannah, go ahead.
I've put this in host packets, and then maybe not always explained or talked about it. I think just like your host coaching them on everything else, you want to, like this tic-tac-toe is a lot like the host level chart. So you want to be like, oh, you only have one more square there, or, kind of have an idea of what's here so you can help them, coach them still to get those other levels and do more. So
Yeah, absolutely. That's an excellent point. You can't just stick it in the host packet. It ain't going to do it by itself. You absolutely need to be talking about it and explaining it to them. That's a good point. Thanks, Anna.
Yeah.
Something I do is I'll tell them, like, once you get it, give me a call. A lot of times they don't call, but then I follow up with them and say, hey, have you had a chance to look through the packet? Pick your recipe, because I'll send them 2 recipes to pick. And then I just keep, every day, like, just not every day, maybe a couple days pass, but just send them a text, hey, get them excited about it. And then, like, once the orders start coming in, every time they get an order, I'll be like, hey, you know, this is your total. You so close to getting. And then it's like, I can truly say this time I did it the whole time. And this host was like, she went from 500 to 800 to 1,000 and then 1,200. I was like, wow.
Yeah.
In a matter of 4 days.
That's phenomenal. That's phenomenal. And that was you making the effort too, Nikki. You know what I mean? It was that effective host coaching, and it absolutely makes a difference. Awesome. So another thing that some people will use is called the guilt letter. You may have heard of this. And this is a thank you note, but the wording is what's important. So you can, put something like this in it. And it tells your host that although your job looks fun, and it is our job and the way we make money to pay our bills. You can also add something like, in the unlikely event that you should need to cancel or reschedule, please let me know as soon as possible so I can fill that date and be working that night. Some other people will say, thank you so much. Let me move this here so you can see it. I wanted to also let you know that your show will actually be qualifying me toward our next incentive trip to Disney. How cool are you? You're a celebrity in my home right now. And this is true because every party is what's going to get you to Disney. Every party is what's going to be able to get you to your next goal. So you can absolutely send this thank you note and add that little extra perk in there. And the trick to this too is if you want to do this, it needs to be handwritten, first of all. But what you can do, so you're not writing it every single time, you handwrite it on blank paper, not lined paper. You handwrite it on blank paper the first time and make sure you do it in black ink. And then you can copy it for each one, and then you're going to sign it in black ink. So it looks like you've handwritten each one. You handwrote the first one, and then you're copying it from there, okay? So this is another way that you can add another layer in. The other thing we want to make sure is that our hosts are inviting people in several different ways or layering their invitations. Some people answer their phones, but a lot of people don't. And if they don't recognize the number coming through, they are probably never going to answer it. Some people live on Facebook. Some people check it 3 times a year. Some people will immediately respond to your text, and some people will never respond to a text. So we want to make sure we're doing layered invitations. And the other thing to keep in mind too is the old school snail mail, because most people only get bills in the mail. So sending an actual invitation in the mail, like a mini catalog or even just the postcard ones, makes a big difference because it's something fun in the mail. And you want to text or tell your hosts that they need to invite your guests in multiple ways and call them first. And if they don't answer, leave a fun message and then text or email or message them to tell them you left them a message. So like if you're texting, somebody, leave them a quick voicemail. Hey, I just shot you a text. Let me know if you got it. Okay. A lot of us will do a Facebook event for an in-person party. But if that's the only way that people are being invited, it's pretty much the kiss of death. Okay. And if you're doing virtual parties, now obviously it's a virtual party, so everything is designed to be online. It doesn't mean that your host can't still be texting people, because I guarantee they're going to have contact information for some of their Facebook friends. They won't have it for everybody, but they're absolutely going to have it for some people. So they can still be layering invitations, whether it's a virtual or in-person party. And we want to make sure also too that your host knows for whether it's a virtual party or an in-person party, on the Facebook invitations, they can see who's been invited and who's opened and who's seen the invites. Now, you're all probably familiar with that, right? Your host may not be. They don't do this for a living. They don't set up, 16 of these, every other day. So we want to make sure that we're showing them, look, you've invited these people, but if you click on the invited tab, only 30 have seen it, the other 100 haven't. So we can absolutely still be teaching them these things, whether it's a virtual or an in-person party. For the mailed invitations, if you use the postcard ones that come in that you can come, those are fantastic. You can do, like I said, the mini catalog. You can print up an invitation. It doesn't really matter what you want to do, but if you're doing a mailed invitation, it just adds another layer of fun. And it's another point of contact when people are usually just going through bills. You can also set up something on Canva. I forgot to change this here. Have you all heard of Canva or PicCollage? Has anyone not heard of them?
But Julie, you know what I've been using, and it works because if the host can text it out. So
Yeah.
Once you set the party up, you can share. You can share it from Consultant Corner.
Yeah. So go ahead. I have a picture somewhere.
That way, once they text out the link, because a lot of people, I've been having the host text it out, and then the people just click on the link and they click and they go on. So that way it keeps track of that too. Yeah.
Absolutely. So there's a bunch of different ways they can do this. So what Nikki's talking about is when you go to the party landing page, which is not the host dashboard. Remember, the host dashboard is where they sign in. The party landing page is that link that we send everybody. So on that, if you guys can see this, and I have this, hold on. I have it circled. This is the picture that I text to my host, and I send them their party link. And I'll tell them exactly what Nikki just said. You can send it right from here. You can Facebook, text, email, whatever. You can send it right from that party landing page. So I send them that, and then I have a text. Again, it's saved in my notes, so I'm just sending it and not typing it every single time. So this is really a fantastic tool. Doing a PicCollage or a Canva, it's another way to do it. You can't put the live link in there, but it's pretty and it's another way to do it. So however you want to do it, but yeah, it's right there for you, okay? So, and we also want to make sure that we share with the host why we need to do the guest list quickly. We know that mailing invitations can often result in a better show, obviously including more people and bigger orders and more people who bring a guest, more outside orders from those who can't attend, and more. So think about how excited guests will be when they see our newest mini catalog and the newest products. So if you are sending out invitations, the mini catalogs do work super well because it's a mini catalog. So it's all those pretty pictures and everything in there. Now, another thing that you can consider is offering an extra incentive. So if they have 15 people confirmed or whatever number you choose, you can say that you're going to treat them to dessert. And it can be the chocolate lava cake, which everybody loves. It costs us as consultants about $2.50 for the ingredients. And it is a phenomenal way to show off the rock crock or to show off a deep covered baker. and people want chocolate. They do. So for an in-person party, you can offer something like that for 15 people there. Again, you can do the same type of thing for a virtual party. 15 people engaged in the party, and you can send them all something fun. And again, this is going to be little inexpensive things, but you can always offer incentives, okay? The home office suggests that we include in the host packet a couple of catalogs, some seasonal, the seasonal mini catalogs, some information about the business, and postcard invitations. And also you'll want to make sure that you're including a Kit credit coupon. So again, truth, no consequences. Who all is including a Kit credit coupon in every single host packet? Yeah, unmute yourself. Are you guys sending host pack or the Kit credit?
Yes.
Yeah. What about everybody else on the phone? Yes or no? Are you sending out the Kit credit coupons?
No.
I have not sent any yet.
Okay. Do you know what they are?
No, that one's kind of new to me. Kit credit coupon.
Yeah. All right. So give me a second here. Let me get signed into Pampered Chef.
I was getting ready to say, here go one, because I'm making my host packet.
Yep.
So.
And I'll show you where it is. So Nikki has one that's printed off, but I'll show you where we go. So I'm going to share my screen to the new screen. Okay. So Consultants Corner, everybody can see this, right? So you
Yep.
go to Selling and Recruiting, Recruiting Experience. And if you haven't been on this page, by the way, you absolutely need to go through this page. It's phenomenal. Some really great information, great videos, a lot of really incredible resources here. But you scroll down, scroll down, scroll down until you see this, the Host Kit Credit Coupon. Okay. And then it is all created for us. So this is what Nikki was just holding up. So the first page gives you an idea of kind of how to use it with 2 of them. And then the second page is just straight up 3 coupons. So if you look at it, it talks about all 3 kits, and it talks about the kit credit and how it works. Okay. So this is something that absolutely gets included in every single host packet, because the kit credit is an incredible host reward. And one thing that, in my opinion, we don't do a great job of highlighting on the back of the catalog and in the if you buy the host packet folders, it's not really highlighted in there. So this is like not telling somebody they had a $50 coupon. You've got to make sure they know. And so this is something that needs to be in every single host packet. Okay, so just again, a quick review. So you go to Consultants Corner, to actual Consultants Corner, Selling and Recruiting, Recruiting Experience, and scroll down to right here. Okay. All right. So, whoops, hold on. Let me get back to where we were. So Kit credit coupon in every single host packet. Now, if you have not started using Express Party Checkout for your in-person parties, do it. I have not used a paper receipt in years. So this one says include some paper ones. I simply don't anymore. That's just something to throw out there. Okay, so we are also looking at, Okay, so this is an example of something you can do with Red Stamp or Canva, just to give you an idea of the other things that we were talking about. And once you create it, you don't have to go back in and redo it every single time. You just go in and change the host name and the information. So you can have one for, Mexican margaritas, for Healthy in a Hurry, whatever it is. And then you can just send out that pretty picture text that they can just forward to the next person. One of the biggest complaints from hosts is that they did not hear from their consultants enough. So there was actually a study done a few years ago, and they surveyed hosts, not just Pampered Chef hosts, but about hosts from across direct sales companies. Number one complaint, they did not hear from their consultants enough. They did not know what they were supposed to do. Okay. Think of it this way. Let's say you booked a party with somebody with, some other direct sales company. They gave you a host packet, and then they didn't call you until like the day before the party. Would you still want to work with that person? Obviously not. They don't care about you. They're not invested in it. So why would you bother? Okay. So maybe, you would call them and see, what's going on. But That's not how it should be. So our host should never feel like, I don't know what I should be doing. And if our host is reaching out to us, that's the self-check, like, okay, how long has it been? Have I dropped the ball here? Okay. And be honest, we're human. Like, every once in a while it's going to happen, but this should be something that we are always reaching out to them and making sure that we are treating this professionally, because we're professionals and we want to make sure we're helping them and that we are truly being a teammate for them. The general rule of thumb is that we touch base once a week. Now, Nikki was saying it kind of depends on, when the party's booked, which is absolutely true. If you book a party next week, you're not talking to them every day. But in general, we want to make sure we have at least 3 calls with each of our hosts. Now, another truth, no consequences, just so I know where everybody is. How many of you guys have at least seen the host coaching checklist? Anybody seen it?
I was
Yes.
actually looking at that today.
Okay. How many of you use it on a regular basis?
Pretty much every party.
Awesome. Is anybody not familiar with what it is? Because I'll show you. If you don't know what it is, let me know and I'll show you. Everybody knows? Okay. So there's a host coaching checklist, and that's for each party. And then you've got your monthly tracker. Just really quickly, I'm going to show you all this anyways, just to make sure that everybody knows what exactly I'm talking about. So again, from here, the easiest way to find it is go to PCU and then go into host coaching. And then under resources. And again, it doesn't matter if you are a virtual or an in-person consultant, right here. Every single host, every single time. And it tells us what we should be talking about, the first, second, and third contacts. So this is the checklist, and then this is your monthly tracker. So this one, you can just tell at a glance, what have I done for this party and what is left to do for this party. And if you're a paper person, you can print these off and write on them. If you are a digital person, they're all fillable forms. Okay, so make sure that every single party, we are doing that. Okay, and it's going to go through all of this, so you know what to say and you know what you should be teaching them and what you need to be following up on with them. Excuse me. You can also want to make sure that, we're going to text, we're going to private message, all that kind of thing. Find out how they prefer to be contacted, because some people, like we talked about, some people live on Facebook, and so they will respond to you right away, but they'll never check their email. So know what's best for them so you can be able to stay in contact with them. You're going to make sure you have correct information, all that kind of stuff. And we want to make sure that we know why they're doing the party. And it's different than what's on your wish list. If you ask them, so tell me, why did you decide to do a party? Some people, honestly, they just love to entertain. Some people are all about getting the free products. Some people want to show off a new house. So when we know why they're doing a party, it's only going to help us be better. Because our assumption is everybody's in it for the products. And everybody wants the products, but it's not always the driving factor for people. Some people want to learn how to cook. They need to learn how to make healthy recipes. So always ask why. And then, yes, of course, we're going to talk about the wish list, because the end result is they're going to have a blast and they're going to get a ton of free stuff. But know why, okay? Excuse me. So every week, we're going to be touching base with them. If it's something that you book in more closely, you're still going to hit on all the information. You're just going to kind of squeeze it in a little bit more tightly. Any questions on, it sounds like everybody's familiar with the checklist. So any questions on like how often we're supposed to be talking to our hosts? Okay, everybody's quiet. I'm going to take that as a we're good. Okay. So we know that we need to, here we're just do a quick review here. So we know that we must contact our hosts at least weekly in a variety of ways. Some people will email their host every Monday night, the next step for their party. Some consultants use a fridge reminder sheet. You can post in a Facebook party if this is an in-person party. If it's a virtual party, obviously you're posting there too. You can use Post My Party or ScentShare. Everybody's familiar with those, I'm guessing, for virtual parties, or just for in-person parties. If you create the event, it can post those there for you as well. And you can post whenever you want to. Private message them, text them, become friends with them, get to know them a little bit, ask them how their day was, ask them how the family is. Because again, remember, we are in a relationship business. We just happen to sell kitchen tools. Okay, so we're still always going to be building this relationship with them. Excuse me. Sending out the save the date, if you're doing Canva or PicCollage, sending out a save the date, and then a reminder like the day before. And again, once you create them, you have the template. You just send it to each host with their information, and they can text it out to their friends. And we always want to remind them of the rule: inviting 40, 15 will come, 10 for outside orders. It always works. It's going to get them to $1,000. And encourage them with delicious recipes and talking about things to really help keep them excited. So we talked a little bit, hold on, I just skipped a screen. Yep. Cooking shows versus virtual parties. These are some additional tips for cooking shows. We're going to talk with our host about attendance, like we talked about, how many people are going to come. Getting those outside orders is huge. I literally just, I've had a host had $500 at the party and got an $800 in outside orders. So it's an incredibly important piece of it, but they may not know that. We want to make sure that our hosts are telling their guests to bring a friend. We want to make sure that the host is inviting people who might need some extra money. So even if they can't buy anything, it may be the perfect business opportunity for them. And don't forget, again, we're offering the business opportunity to every single host. Virtual parties, a couple of tips for this one. So we want to make sure that at least 30 people say that they are going to the party, whether it's an event or whether it's a group. That typically means about 15, maybe 20 people will engage. We also want to let our hosts know to work on collecting outside orders from people who don't use Facebook. This is no different. They're all going to have, an aunt or somebody who doesn't do Facebook. Still collect outside orders from them. And if you don't mail a catalog, a host packet to all of your virtual party hosts, consider it. A lot of virtual party hosts still want to see the catalog, and they can pass it around, and it's a great way to continue to get additional sales. You're offering the business opportunity to every single host, and we're going to be posting about placing orders, posting about booking a virtual party in the party, and the business opportunity. And there are some really great ideas for effective virtual host coaching in the Facebook groups. One of the best is to create the host with the most group. So you're coaching all of your VP hosts at the same time. And when you have multiple parties going, it's even better. So you have like 2 or 3 VPs going in a week. You group them all together. So you're still going to have private messages with them, but there's also going to be like a group chat going on with each host, and you can do some real fun competition, some friendly competition that way. And you can do like a small prize. Again, little incentives, not expensive, but the host with the biggest sales, the most bookings or something like that, you can throw, whoever wins, they get something extra. Okay. So a post like this to invite friends to join the event is a really fun thing to share on your virtual parties or your in-person parties. It doesn't matter. And you, again, offer incentives for, something little if they bring somebody. This is another version of the tic-tac-toe. And check this out. Chat with me about the Pampered Chef business opportunity. It's placed there for a reason. It's in the middle. Okay. If we are looking at virtual parties, this is the job of a host. This is for like the host or hostess with the mostest. Gives you some ideas on what you can do with this. You can text or email this to your virtual party hosts. This is another way that you can post it. Different styles, different fonts. This one looks a little bit, more sleek, a little bit more sophisticated. This one here is just a great banner that you can put on if you're doing like a hostess with the mostest group. If you're doing like an actual group, that's a good one. This one is super effective for talking about how important it is to have a certain number of people click going for your virtual parties. Tips of the day is another really good one. There are a couple different sets of photos on the Facebook virtual groups that have host tips for each day. And so this is something that you can just post, you can send to your host each day. So again, some of these things, you don't have to keep recreating the wheel. There's another version of the host tip of the day. And then another fantastic thing to do is videos for host coaching. And what she does is, it's a video for what's in the packet and what she says and what she expects on her first video, and video made for what is in the packet and what she expects on her first video, and her what to expect for the party video. So she's always sending them messages, but you can create a video that you can use over and over and over again. Okay, so this is a really effective way to do it. And then you can do, she always sends them via Facebook Messenger so she can see if those videos have been seen. If they don't reply, she asks again, hey, did you see my video? What did you think? Did you have any questions? So this is a really good way. Again, if you're doing multiple virtual parties, you can have this really effective host coaching video done that you just send to each host. And then, of course, you continue to build that relationship with people. Tracking is key. Whether you're doing in-person or virtual parties, tracking is one of the most important things that you can do. There's again, a lot of things that you can do to help keep track of everything. This is one way that you can use to track, and I'm going to slide this over. So again, if you're a paper person, you can use, once you book the party, you then go in and you set up all the tasks associated with that party. So when you mailed the kit credit, when you sent the menu, follow up, you put the dates in for all of them. And you can put codes in there like GL is guilt letter, okay? Or set up the website or Facebook event. Systems will make everything much better. And if you're a digital person, Google Calendar is phenomenal for this. And you can create an event and you can set things up to repeat. So it doesn't matter if you prefer digital or paper, make sure that you have a system and it's consistent. Things not to forget for your cooking shows. Be sure to stay in touch. Obviously, we know this. Friend request your host on Facebook. We know that. We're going to send the host packet, set up the Facebook event, get the posts set up to go, help them pick recipes. And remember, if you ever struggle with your host wanting to do all these kind of different crazy recipes, you are in control. You are the expert. Even if you're new, talk to your upline, talk to your director, and we will help you with the words to say. But we know there are certain recipes that make good demos and others that will just stop a party dead in their tracks. So make sure that you are keeping control of those recipes. And we're always, always, always going to be asking the host more than once if they want to use their kit credit, because we all need time to think about things. A couple other things, just virtual parties. Going to make sure we're getting everything set up. We're going to friend them. We get the packet sent out to them. We get them set up on the website. We create, send, share, post my party if you're doing that. And then offering them information about the business every single time. Okay, we've talked about host coaching as a partnership. I think y'all probably know this, but really drilling down into the details is where the beauty of it is. Okay. We're going to touch base on skill. The last 2 weeks we talked about belief and passion. Tonight we're talking about skill. Skills are one of the easiest things, one of the easiest pillars in our business, because it's something that everybody can fix. Okay, if you're struggling with, with not knowing enough about the cookware or not knowing enough about stoneware, there are so many resources that you can really, really, really boost this very quickly. Number one thing to do, use your tools, okay? I'm sure you all are using them, but use them as much as you can. Challenge yourself to make new recipes with products maybe you don't use that much. But the more we use our tools, the better we're going to be talking about them, because that's going to help you develop personal stories about the items. Okay, you can say, oh my God, so last week, was super busy, blah, 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 this happened, and I was able to make this recipe and it was fantastic. Personal stories is really what people want to know. Remember, relationship business, okay? Study the catalog. We talked about that. Make sure you always have one with you. Those are really fantastic marketing tools. Home office trainings. Go back and redo them. Okay, PCU is not a one and done. PCU is you do it once at the very beginning, and then you go back and you review different pieces as many times as you need to. Listen to the audios, the ones that we signed for homework. So much information there. Make sure you are going to all of your team trainings, whether they're virtual or in person, attend. You will learn so much from your fellow consultants. You are going to learn so much about different recipes and tips and tools and how they use things. Very, very, very important. Conference. Who's going to conference? How many people have already signed up? Yeah. If you have not registered for conference yet, this is something that will 110% change your business. Guaranteed. Make sure you get to conference. It is super, super important. One of the best things you could ever do for your business. We want to make sure that you are talking, that you're participating in Coffee Talk and the Saturday Success Calls. If you're not familiar with those, let us know. They're low-key but packed with information. Make sure you're reading books all the time. There are so many fantastic books. And again, if you need suggestions, let us know. But the best way that you can grow is to read. And there are just so many fantastic books that will help you. Watch YouTube trainings and make sure you're watching really good people. So if you've heard of these people in Pampered Chef before, watch them. People like Sharon Zellen, Marna Ross, some of these people that you've heard of, they have a ton of YouTube videos and you will learn so much by watching them. And the most important thing is do lots of parties yourselves. Virtual or in person, we all get better the more we do things. No one's ever going to be perfect. I still screw up recipes. It doesn't matter. But the more we do things, the better we get at them. Okay? All right. Let's talk about homework for the week. So we want you to listen to Host Coaching with Lisa Noto and Michael Yoakley. These are two super heavy hitters, really sweet people too, and they know a lot about what they're doing. This is PCU under Host Coaching and Peer Sharing Resources. So you're going to listen to that one. We are also going to continue to be adding shows to the calendar, right? So we want to make sure we're booking parties, we're doing our host coaching. You want to really commit to doing these things well. Remember, there's a difference between being efficient, which is just cranking through things, and being effective. We want to do them well. Host coaching done well results in parties that are super, super successful. Okay, so we want to make sure that you're following up with your upline about how many leads are you getting, how many bookings are you getting, how the sales are, any struggles that you have, and something that you're super excited about. So this was a lot tonight. So we've got another minute or two. So if you're muted, unmute yourself and let me know what questions do you have about host coaching in general. Is there one place in particular you feel like you get stuck every single party? Go ahead and share a little bit about how you're feeling about host coaching.
I'll say for myself, Julie, I wasn't strong in host coaching. I think my first 2 years in the business was pure luck and people, I mean, I knew the products. But I can say here the past couple months, I've really been focusing on having a consistent system in place for us host coaching. And since I've been following it, I can say, especially this month, I have, it's been a while since I had $1,000 party, so it was exciting because I needed that boost. But I can say now I'm feeling more stronger for host coaching, where before I was kind of like hesitant, or I would say fearful. But I can say, and with this training, it's helping me to stay accountable. So I don't know if y'all have accountability partner, but having an accountability partner helps a lot, because y'all can hold each other accountable as far as your shows and different things. So I can say I'm confident now. So.
Yay! Thank you so much for sharing that, Nikki, honestly, because you know what? It's really easy to get in our own heads and get in our own way. And it's not about us. It's never about us. So if you're feeling like, well, host coaching is because I want them to do something, then that's where we stop. And that's where we need to remember that we are doing this for somebody else. And I know that anybody who is doing this training genuinely wants to help their host. You genuinely want to help somebody else. So this is how you get to help your host. You get to teach them the best way to do things, and you get to really help them get to where they want to be. You are their coach, you are their friend, you are their mentor, whatever word works for you, but it is a partnership. And Nikki, you're 100% right. It's normal to feel a little scared sometimes if we're in the wrong headspace. So remembering that it is always about them, that makes everything easier. And if you ever get a little stuck, think back to a show when your host was thrilled. You had a $1,000 show, a $1,200 show, and think about how excited that host was when you got to say, keep going, you still have 50 more free bucks. Keep going, you still have 2 more half price items. Remember those hosts, and that's what you're going for with every single party. And I guarantee it's going to be a lot easier because you are 100% focused on them and making sure they're happy and they get everything they want out of their party. Consistency is important, making sure you're tracking, making sure you're staying in constant contact with everybody, and making sure it's always about them, and it will absolutely make a difference. Any other questions about anything we talked about tonight? All right. Thank you all.
Good, thank you.
Go ahead. Yeah, you got a question?
Oh no, I was saying no. I'm good. Thank you.
Okay, cool. So I'm so glad you all joined in tonight. For those of you who are going to be watching the replay, thank you for joining in later on. And every time that you invest, every minute that you invest your time in getting better, you're not only helping yourself, but you're helping every single host and every single guest that you come in contact with. So congratulations for investing in yourself and in your business. You're all doing fantastic. Keep working. We are always all a work in progress. So be better than you were yesterday. Be better at the next party, and your business is going to continue to grow. Thank you all so much. We're super excited for you. We're super proud of all of you. Keep it going, and we'll talk to you all soon, okay?
Great. Good night.
Thanks, everybody.
Good
Take
night,
care.
everybody.
Bye-bye.